to more than 1.3 million public school students. Dominican Republic TSOL, or DR-TSOL, is advocating for the approval of the law of English as a second language. And today we're going to learn about an objective and scientifically valid vision for this bilingual education strategy, which involves 1,000 English teachers and is funded by the National Teacher Training Institute of the Dominican Ministry of Education. This strategy is defined as situated, holistic, and simultaneous, involving classroom observation and needs analysis. So today our panelists that we're going to welcome include Juan Valdez, who is the Director of Professional Development Systems, the Executive Director of the Education Observatory, and the President of DR-TSOL. We also have Elisa Alvarez, who is the New York State Associate Commissioner of the Office of Bilingual Education and World Languages. And then Diane Rodriguez is a professor and associate dean at the Graduate School of Education at Fordham University. And unfortunately, Diane couldn't make it here with us today, but Elisa is going to present her findings. So Juan and Elisa, I invite you to begin.
Thank you very much. I would like to start then, Elisa, if I may.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Professor Juan Valdez. As Rachel just said, I am the Executive Director of Dominican Republic TSOL and the Director of the Situated Teacher Development Program for Dominican Public Schools. We have a movement that is called United for a Bilingual Republic in our country. This movement aspires to giving students the right to learn English in public education in our country in general terms. The reason why we are advocating for a bilingual Dominican Republic is the following. First of all, even though English has been an official subject in Dominican schools since 1961, as of today, the totality of our 2.2 million public school students are condemned to monolingualism, which has become a serious social and academic injustice in the country. Since 1961, not a single Dominican has been able to learn English in public education. This is actually, as I said now, a serious problem for most people who graduate from high school, because this does not give them a chance to even get a job once they graduate. Dominican students are supposed to take 9 years of English as a foreign language class, and that is from 4th grade to 12th grade in general. The traditional social belief is that English cannot be learned in public schools. There are no learning expectations in students who go to public education in our country. Neither students nor families expect their kids to learn English because it's never happened before. The fact is that only expensive bilingual schools educate bilingual students in the Dominican Republic. That is 1% of the student population. The Dominican economy, however, depends mostly on international tourism, foreign investment, and the service industry, which puts students who are not bilingual after graduating from high school at a serious disadvantage. All of these are reasons for us, teachers in the Dominican Republic and Dominican Republic TSOL, as their professional association, to advocate for bilingual education in public schools. For the last 8 years, as a movement and as a professional association, we've been taking action on this direction. And we've done it on a 3-level advocacy strategy. And I'll explain you now how. We've done it individually by reaching out to teachers all over the country and creating regional chapters of Dominican Republic TSOL. We've tried to keep them informed of their rights to learn and teach English in public schools and our efforts on the same direction. We have managed to build a collegial spirit. And this collegial spirit has a slogan, which is unite and conquer. We've tried to bring all the teachers in the country together, or the English teachers, in one single cause. And that cause is building a bilingual republic. And by providing them also training and advocating for the area at the micro level. We visit the teachers and do this individually. Institutionally, What we have done is forming a strategic alliance with the National Teachers Union. In this country, there are 3 big major teacher unions, and English teachers were usually left aside those unions. But for the last 8 years, we have managed to ally with them, and now we are all together on the same direction. All 3 teachers unions now support the movement for a bilingual republic and bilingual education in our country. We have also met with the Ministry of Education and Higher Education, and we have offered them solutions to the issues that affect English language teaching and training. We have also talked to them about the possible solutions to problems on a school basis. We've also managed to form international alliances with TSOL affiliates to educate our membership. And every year, lots of TSOL affiliates and members come to our country to help us in training our teachers. Something we have done that it's been a really hard effort is bringing the issue to congressional hearings and achieving a resolution on it, and now a law. Since 2014, every year, we as a professional association hold meetings with the Congressional Commission on Education, just to try to enforce the idea that learning English in schools must be guaranteed. In terms of community efforts, our advocacy goes by exposing the issue of social and academic injustice through mass media. We have a lot of presence on mass media in this country: television, newspapers, radio programs. Also participating on local and national academic events and debating on the issue of the importance of learning English in school has been one of the strategies we've implemented. Having our annual DR-TESOL convention totally free of cost for teachers and administrators in the community has been a great advantage too. For 8 years, we have managed to put together our DR-TESOL annual convention at no cost to over 1,000 teachers who travel from all around the country to come to the convention. Partnering with parents and students and professional associations and raising their awareness and support on the importance of English is another move we have made. So this is what we have called the 3-level advocacy strategy: reaching out to people individually, institutionally, and at the community level, only to raise awareness on the importance of learning English in school and supporting English teachers. Our annual convention is one of the biggest efforts and the most impacting of all our advocacy. Hosting our annual convention with over 1,000 teachers for 8 straight years has been greatly successful, and it's actually attracted attention all over the country. Let me give you an example. This was our last convention. That was just 1 month ago. The title this year was United for a Bilingual Republic. And again, we have a new slogan now. This slogan for the association is teachers are not the problem. Teachers are the solution. Because in the third world, at least in Latin America, most of the discourse on education keeps blaming teachers for the low quality of education in the region. Our slogan is the opposite. Let me just show you a brief video of part of our convention just 1 month ago.
In all of your comments on our convention this year, the Dominican Republic Solar Association really appreciates our having the time for person signals to join us this year's convention, which promises to be unforgettable for everyone here. This and the history of education of the Dominican Republic for serving as sponsors for this year's event and for all the outstanding support provided to the TSOL to ensure this event is a huge success for all to appreciate and enjoy.
This was part of our convention this year, and we managed to bring to the convention all the local media. We had important decision makers in the country present too. We had Congress people, we had people from the Ministry of Education and Higher Education coming to our convention. And this is part of the way we have attracted attention from everybody around the country on the importance of guaranteeing the learning of English in public schools. Now, reaching out to teachers and building a collegial spirit all around the country has been an important effort as well. This country has 32 provinces. It's like 32 states. And then we travel all around the country, meet with the teachers, providing training, host conferences, and listen to them. Listen to what their needs are and the kind of support that they need in improving English language learning in public schools. Forming local and international strategic alliances has been part of our strategy as well. As I said earlier, we have managed to build a strong bond with local teachers' unions and, of course, with TSOL International as well. Now, we have managed to join New York State Department of Education efforts for bilingual education as well and get their support. That is why you can see people like Nikki Ashcraft from TSOL International, which was one of our first supporters. We have Dr. Diane Cooper, Dr. Ranibal from Puerto Rico. Then we have most of Dominican Republic TSOL members be exposed to this international support. And then when we meet with international presenters, teachers are more inspired and they are more motivated to continue on their efforts to improving English language learning. Dr. Laura Backer from New York State TSOL and Hunter College of the City University of New York has been one of our greatest supporters as well. She has actually joined our program in providing teachers training on many different areas of ELT. In offering solutions to our local Ministry of Education and Higher Education, we have managed to meet with the ministers, with the vice ministers, the directors, and we have actually brought solutions to those ministries in trying to improve English language teaching and learning. We are not demanding a solution, actually. We are proposing solutions to the local authorities because since they mostly lack the expertise in the field and they are not aware, we need to go to the ministries of education ourselves and present what we think is needed in order to improve English language teaching and learning as a professional association. Partnering with families and students is also crucial. We visit schools, we visit parental meetings, we provide talks, we provide conferences for students and families on the importance of learning English. And the pictures you see on the screen are basically our movement. Basically, it is a movement from students. And what they say here in Spanish is, I want to learn English in school. That's the slogan. Yo quiero aprender inglés en la escuela. This slogan has been spread all around the country because traditionally, public school students believe that learning English is impossible. That is only for the rich. And it is a mindset that we are trying to debunk by visiting them and by showing them that it's possible, inspiring them and motivating them to learn English in public schools. Advocating for the area of mass media is another key to our movement for a bilingual republic. We usually go to TV interviews, radio interviews, we usually get interviews from the newspapers, and we are making our cause public, demanding and proposing at the same time the solutions to the needs of English language teachers and the need to learn English in school in particular. So as a professional association, we have been all around the country in many different ways. We have actually put the need for English language learning on the spot and on mass media for the last 8 years. And we have managed to get people's attention. Ours is the area at this moment that gets the most attention from the Ministry of Education in terms of educational innovation. Something else we've done is bringing the issues of English language learning to congressional level. Like I said earlier, we have met with the Commission on Education for Congress for the last 8 years by expressing what we need, by presenting research, and by requesting the approval of the law of English as a second language. This law was proposed by Congresswoman Servia Iris Familia. Servia Iris Familia, which is the lady you see on the screen, on the newspaper article is the Congresswoman for the Dominican diaspora in the state of New York. She resides in New York, but she spends most of her time here in Congress. And then we have partnered with her on the proposal for the law of English as a second language. Lucky for us, just 1 month ago, the Chamber of Deputies approved the law, and now it is expecting the approval of the Senate to make it officially a law in our country. For this matter, I would like to explain you what the law of English as a second language aspires to do. The law of English as a second language aspires to guarantee the right of all students in public schools to learn English through the implementation of a national English language learning strategy, so that English becomes the second language in the Dominican Republic officially. It also aspires to achieve the learning and teaching of the English language in the Dominican school system and establish this as a policy of public interest. The implementation of the National English Language Learning Strategy to be carried out from the 4th to the 12th grade for 9 years is another one of the articles on the law of English as a second language. This law also provides opportunities for the development of special teacher training programs addressing specific professional development needs of our teachers. And the law also requires universities to create a new major in teaching English to young learners so that in the near future, English can be taught in preschool and the first cycle of primary school. At this moment, English is only taught from 4th to 12th grade. But now universities will begin the new career on teaching English to young learners. This will make it possible for us to recruit enough teachers to teach English from preschool to primary school. In general, these are the articles of the law of English as a second language. What we are trying to do basically is to establish the right to learn English in school as a national priority. And that is why we have actually thought about a law, passing a law for this purpose. Now, all of this above is what's created what we call the Situated and Continuing English Teacher Training Strategy for Dominican Public Schools. This is a strategy that the law of English as a second language is supporting in order to achieve the learning of English in public schools in our country. This program is based on the glossary of public school English programs in Latin America that's been developed for the last 20 years. What you see on your screens are basically the programs that have tried to achieve this same purpose since 2004 all over Latin America. Programs in Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Mexico, Panama. All of these countries have tried to facilitate the learning of English in public schools for the last 20 years, but they have not succeeded. What we at the Dominican Republic have tried to do is basically learn from all these programs in what went right, what went wrong, and that's what our strategy is mostly based on previous experience from governments in the region in trying to achieve the learning of English in public education. This program is coordinated by Dominican Republic TSOL, myself, by Dr. Laura Backer from Hunter College, and Dr. Beth Clark from New York State TSOL, in alliance with the National Teacher Training Institute, Professional Training Systems, and the Dominican Ministry of Education. At this moment, the Situated and Continuing English Teacher Training Strategy has the following numbers. We have at this moment 557 public schools involved in the program. Over 1,400 English teachers have joined the program and are now in training. We have 105 language teacher supervisors from the Ministry of Education involved as well. And as of today, we have around almost 300,000 students, and more are joining us every day. So these are the numbers of this strategy that is called the Situated and Continuing English Teacher Training Strategy for Public Schools. This strategy is based on what we call the cycle of continuous improvement and situated teacher training. What we do is that we develop this program on a school-by-school basis. Those 500 schools have all gone through the same process. First, what we do is a needs analysis for every school. And for every school, we establish a baseline of teachers and students' competencies and their needs. Once we have a needs analysis for each and every school, then we design an improvement plan. And we make sure that teachers get the resources as well as students, that is, the learning resources. Once the improvement plan has been designed, then we begin the implementation of the plan with pedagogical accompaniment, that is, language teacher supervision, follow-up, and monitoring. The way we do this is by sending day by day language teacher supervisors to all the schools to provide teachers with support and follow-up. And then every school year, we run an assessment of the whole system, evaluating the learning of English and the competencies developed by both teachers and students. So this cycle is repeated and is done in every school participating on the strategy. This is a nationwide program again. So in every province, that is, we have language teacher supervisors who visit schools on a day-by-day basis and run this circle and follow up on what's going on. Once they analyze the needs of schools, which can go from issues such as the fact that teachers don't get support from the school leadership, or that the subject, English as a subject, is not given the number of hours that the national curriculum actually establishes, or that teachers sometimes don't even have enough space on the school schedule to teach their classes. All those issues are addressed on a school-by-school basis. And then we keep in touch with the teachers daily through WhatsApp groups and other media, and then we follow up on it day by day. The research which sustains this approach is basically the 3 pieces of research carried out in the last 10 years in Latin America. My research in 2013, which was titled "Why English is Not Learned in Dominican Public Schools," the research done by the British Council in 2015 on English in Latin America, the research done by the Inter-American Dialogue in 2017, which was entitled "English Language Learning in Latin American Schools," plus research done by the European Union on School-Centered Professional Development Program and the National Teacher Training Institute standards for the improvement of continuing education programs in the Dominican Republic. All these pieces of research have been used for the design of the cycle of continuous improvement for English in schools in the Dominican Republic. Now, this program as a strategy has actually focused on specific actions. So we have taken actions that benefit teachers, benefit schools and students at the same time, based on the feedback given by teachers and the school community on a day-by-day basis. We started the program by evaluating the language and pedagogical skills of public school teachers. Teachers were given a standard placement test, which is a Pearson test of English, just to establish a baseline on their language skills and their pedagogical skills in order to develop professional development programs for them. We also evaluated the conditions of the English area in the schools participating in the program. As I said earlier, what we did was basically visiting the schools, talking to the school management, talking to the school teachers, talking to parents, and finding out exactly what was going on and why English was not learned in their schools, once again, on a school-by-school basis. Strengthening the language teacher supervision capacity of schools was another action taken by this program. With Hunter College and Dr. Laura Backer and Dr. Beth Clark, we developed a language teacher supervision program, which actually has been going on for 10 straight months, since January until this week. Assessing the English language skills of students in the schools participating in the program was another action taken by this strategy. We gave students what was called a baseline placement test, which was a diagnostic test given to the students participating in the program at the start of the school year. Implementing a 4-year program from 2021 to 2025 was another motion of this strategy. This involves the professional growth of the teaching staff and progress in student learning. Our strategy was proposed to the local Ministry of Education as a 4-year program in order to improve the conditions of schools, teachers, and students. Evaluating the progress of the program and improving the learning outcomes every year is another strategic action we have taken. Every year, students, teachers, and supervisors are given an assessment, basically a skills test to compare the baseline skills that we had on the beginning diagnostic with the progress they make every year. Providing situated continuing education courses to teachers throughout the school year is another strategic action. Once supervisors go to schools and diagnose the needs of teachers, every month we provide teachers with training, pedagogical training, and language skills development training as well. So all of this is done simultaneously. Following up day by day in schools, training teachers, following up on school conditions, and following up on the policy established by this strategy is done on a day-by-day basis, in touch and with support from the Ministry of Education and the National Teacher Training Institute. One of our best programs in this strategy is the Language Teacher Supervision Program. This professional development program for Dominican public school supervisors, once again, was developed by Dr. Laura Backer and myself. And the approach has been basically one of language teacher supervision as developmental. Traditionally, language teacher supervisors in our country would go to schools only to audit teachers. It was more what they called snoopervision than supervision. And teachers were actually under a lot of pressure because supervisors would go to schools just to verify compliance with norms that no one actually followed. So we changed the approach. We diagnosed the supervisor's needs, and then we provided a new program for them, basically on a vision of professional development, not professional compliance. So in this program, we have managed to provide the supervisors with the knowledge, the interpersonal skills, and the technical skills required to ultimately improve student learning. Here, supervisors are taught technical skills, cultural task skills, the unification of school needs and individual goals. And now they have a new approach to supervise teachers, mostly trying to support teacher development and not to just verify compliance with norms. This is one sample of our classes with Dr. Laura Backer. And supervisors take this program 4 hours a week. They have been taking it twice a week for 2 hours on Mondays and Wednesdays since January until today. What we have managed to implement in schools via this program is basically a 3-stage language teacher supervision model. This model implies a pre-observation meeting with the teachers where a reflective approach is implemented. Before visiting a teacher, supervisors host a meeting with them, a pre-observation meeting, live or virtually, and discuss through a series of questions what their class will be about. After that, the supervisor goes to school to visit the class that was discussed on the pre-observation meeting. With a class observation form like the one you see on the screen, supervisors observe teachers' classes. After that, the supervisors pay the teacher a 3rd visit on a post-observation meeting. On that meeting, supervisors discuss with teachers what was planned on the pre-observation meeting, what was actually done in their observation of class, and discuss what can be improved, what went right, what could be done better. And then this becomes a cycle of reflective teaching and language teacher supervision for development, for professional development. This is the way we have done it, and this is the way we do it in this teacher training strategy, which is situated in schools. In terms of our teachers' language proficiency level, teachers were given the Common European Framework Reference for Language Placement Test by Pearson Education. They were given the Pearson test of English. We were able to test over 1,300 teachers. And in average, we could establish that Dominican public schools teachers have a B1 level in the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. So most public school teachers are independent users of the language. They are at an intermediate level. This means that they have skills such as being able to understand points regarding family, work, school, or leisure-related topics, dealing with most travel situations in areas where the language is spoken, creating simple texts and topics of personal interest, describing experiences, events, dreams, and ambitions. So, in average, the level of English that public school teachers have in the country is referred to as an intermediate independent level. That is why every week, teachers get training on language development skills. This is a language proficiency improvement program for teachers that goes on for 4 hours a week. In this program, teachers meet once a week for 4 hours to get language proficiency improvement training, just basically to practice their English and improve it. What you see on the screen is a sample of one of our language improvement classes for teachers, which is actually hosting a standing practice for conversation. This is basically one of my classes, one class I teach myself. These are high intermediate teachers who are actually taking this class once a week for 4 hours. In this exercise in particular, they were asked to stand up and do their practice standing because it's a 4-hour program. And teachers usually go to schools from 7:30 to 4 p.m. every day. So once they leave school on Fridays, for example, which is this class, they come to our training center to get language proficiency improvement classes once a week. Now, in this program, we visit schools every day. This program is called Situated Learning Strategy because we visit schools and actually support teachers by observing their classes, listening to them, and basically intervening in terms of support with the school leadership in the community. What you see here is a standard primary school classroom in a province in the Dominican Republic. Let me just show you what teachers do when we go to observe their classes.
Good afternoon, students. How are you today? Sit down.
Now, students in public schools are actually in very impoverished conditions in this country. You can see that the classrooms don't have the best infrastructure, and then teachers actually have to strive to make classes possible. In this program, we try to provide teachers all the teaching resources they need in terms of audio equipment, textbooks, and workbooks, and we visit them and visit their students in order to motivate them and keep them interested in learning English. But we visit over 500 schools every year just to do this on a day-by-day basis.
Good
Now, After 1 year of the implementation of this program, we have done what is called a SWOT analysis. We could say that the strengths of the program at this moment are basically the fact that the design of the program is based on solid scientific research. This has been carried out in the last 20 years in Latin America, and we have actually pondered on the lessons learned in local pilot programs in public schools from more than a decade of experience. The support and commitment of English language teachers nationwide is another support of the program. It's incredible how interested, how committed, how motivated English teachers are to making this real. In terms of the weaknesses of our program, one of them is the disbelief of the Dominican population in relation to bilingualism in public education. The fact that for over 60 years, not one single Dominican student has been able to learn English in public schools create a lot of disbelief and very low learning expectations. And that actually is a weakness of the program, which we combat by visiting schools and hosting meetings with parents and advertising on mass media the importance of learning English in schools and the fact that it's possible. Extreme poverty and very poor school infrastructure and connectivity is another weakness of the country. For this matter, we are now working with the Ministry of Education by providing them a report on the conditions of schools and what needs to improve in terms of technology, connectivity, and infrastructure to make English language learning more viable. Oversized classes is another issue. In average, school classroom is not meant to host more than 25 or 30 students per class, but in this country, the average is over 40 students in every classroom. So that is one of the weaknesses of the program too. In terms of the opportunities of this program, what we have is actually becoming the first bilingual country in Latin America. That is a great opportunity for this country. We actually believe that this is possible, and that is our main goal. With this program, we intend to become the first bilingual country in Latin America. And this is a great opportunity for this country and for the students in our country too. Another opportunity this program provides is increasing the employability of youth and reducing juvenile delinquency. Since learning English in school provides students an opportunity to get a job right after graduating from school, this provides a chance, this provides hope for youth in this country. And young people can easily get a job in this country if they can speak English once they graduate from high school. So this helps us in reducing delinquency in the country, juvenile delinquency in general. Raising the level of educational quality in the Dominican Republic is another great opportunity with this program, because it is well known by all of you who are teachers that learning a foreign or second language provides better education in these days. The threats to this program are actually more in terms of the government. Government corruption, in my opinion, is the #1 threat to this program. The fact that in order to do a program like this, one has to face trials and tribulations with public officials trying to bribe and impede the payment for resources in this program is a big threat. In this program, we have faced that. Ministerial and institutional inefficiency is another problem. In fact, the Ministry of Education in this country has traditionally been known for inefficiency in terms of the administrative tasks they have to perform in order to make schools better in terms of performance. Educational colonialism is another threat. In my experience for the last 20 years, that is, every time a country in Latin America makes it public that they intend to make English language learning possible in public education, this becomes attractive to many international groups who come to countries like ours in trying to provide colonial solutions to local problems. But the biggest threat to this program, in my opinion, as a professor, as a school director, as a teacher, is government corruption. Not a single country has been able to learn English in public schools in Latin America And a lot of this has to do with governments that are corrupt, that make serious program like this into basically just an opportunity to make money. And in our country, that has been part of the problem. We have had to face a lot of trials and tribulations with public officials trying to impede this program from becoming reality, in trying to bribe the institutions that are doing it just to get money under the table. And unfortunately, in my opinion, the problem with English language learning in Latin America in terms of public schools is not technical. It's actually ethical. But teachers here are united, and we believe that we can make it possible because where there's a will, we believe that there's always a way. In conclusion, building a collegial spirit is key to successfully empower English teachers to advocate for the right to English language learning in public education. That is a lesson we have learned. Another lesson we have learned is that strategic alliances are crucial to gain strength and support for teachers, students, and the families interested in learning English. Getting access to mass media and making a name for your cause in the news is the best way to get support from the community and respect from the authorities in any country in Latin America for this cause. Daring to go to the highest ranks and publicly demand what is needed for your students is vital in order to improve English language teaching and learning in Latin America. These, in conclusion, are the lessons we have learned in implementing this program with the TSOL, with the Ministry of Education, Professional Training Systems, Hunter College, and New York State TSOL. After all, students have a right. They have the right for good education. They have a right to learn English in school. And the best way to do it is basically to unite and conquer. United teachers can make a difference. That is the lesson we have learned at Dominican Republic TSOL in advocating for the right to learning English in public education. Thank you all very much for listening to my presentation, for being here today, and for supporting our movement in the Dominican Republic for a bilingual republic. Now, I am open to your questions and comments, or it can actually be done at the end of my presentation. Juliet, Rachel, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Juan. That was wonderful. And I know we're going to have a really rich discussion around so much of what you shared. Feel free to put in some questions and comments in the chat, and we will discuss after Elisa presents. So Elisa, I welcome you to go ahead and start.
Well, thank you so much. Good morning again to every single person that has taken their time to spend this morning with us. It is a pleasure, absolute pleasure and thrill to see such advocacy from across our different countries. I have to first thank you, the International TSOL. Thank you, Juliet, and thank you, Rachel, for the invitation and hosting such an important event of advocacy, bringing like-minded people to this call. I must share that I am a fangirl right now because I see Dr. Ayana Cooper is on the call, and so is Dr. Nancy Cloud. And so I am absolutely honored to be in this presence. I'll share a little bit about myself before we begin. Born and raised in Washington Heights of Dominican parents, never in my wildest dream did I ever think that my advocacy would give me an opportunity to present in the presence of such folks that have paved the way for us to be able to continue this work, especially here in New York State. So I needed to say that. On behalf of New York State, I am the Associate Commissioner for the Office of Bilingual Education and World Languages. Over 30 years experience in the field that I'm just getting started, former superintendent of New York City, former principal, bilingual special education teacher by profession. So with that, I'll get started. So thank you so much again for having us here. Part of our mission at the Office of Bilingual Education and World Languages is to ensure that all New York State students, including English language learners and multilingual learners, attain the highest level of academic success and language proficiency. All that we do revolves around one singular mission, and that is proficiency and opportunities for all students. We want to ensure that all of our students have an opportunity to choose the postgraduate pathways of their choice, including post-secondary studies and career options. As you were told at the beginning of this session, our colleague, Dr. Diane Rodriguez, is also part of this presentation, but unfortunately, she hasn't been able to join us in person, or virtually, I should say. But I wanted to share the fact that working together, Dr. Diane Rodriguez is the Associate Dean of the Graduate School of Education at Fordham University, and she's a force to be reckoned with. We are grateful that Fordham University has and continues the same passion of bilingualism, supporting teacher preparation, and fighting for the advocacy from ensuring that our teachers are prepared in order to be successful. So within our presentation, Diane's voice and my voice hopefully will resonate from the perspective of New York State and the collaboration that we share. So the work that Dr. Diane Rodriguez promotes, it speaks a lot to the evidence and the data that we have that demonstrates that our that the proficiency of our bilingual and multilingual students actually outperform their monolingual peers. If our goal is to prepare that our students are successfully we've created a strong foundation for them to have a future of possibilities, then as representatives of higher education, we must prepare our teachers for success as well. In terms of the benefits of bilingualism in our children, as you can all attest to, we know that it promotes the metalinguistic awareness. We know that it promotes cognitive abilities. We know that it enhances the social and emotional aspect, the inclusivity. It opens everyone's hearts and doors to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And most importantly, that it promotes cross-cultural awareness and understanding as to who we are as individuals. Next slide, please. Thank you. Some of the benefits that Dr. Rodriguez wanted to stress with this presentation is that we know that there are psychological, linguistic, and academic benefits for our students here, especially in New York State, well, across all our countries. Teacher preparation, creation of a teacher pipeline for the future success is at the forefront of the commitment of Fordham University. As you can see, the benefits that are presented here, we know that language is the key factor in helping children and young adults identify who they are. Language is, in our opinion, the great equalizer. We also know that there is true significance in our students being able to develop their linguistic abilities, not only within their first native language, but also in acquiring a second or even third language. We know it promotes the ability of cognitive function. We know that it opens up the opportunities for them to think globally. And finally, as I stated earlier, we are very much aware that the academic success of our children, when we compare them to their non-bilingual peers, that they actually outperform the non-bilingual peers. We have this definite data in New York State, and we continue to monitor this information to ensure that we can replicate the success. I guess at this point in time, the work is about, you can go to the next slide. Thank you, Nick. At this time, the work is really about offering opportunities and helping every teacher understand that they are a teacher of English language learners. Thank you. At this point, I would like to share a little history about New York State and share with you how it is that we're actually promoting bilingualism and multilingualism here at the state. So we see, actually, we have our regulations, Commissioner's Regulations of Part 154 is the educational law that helps us promote the fact and hold everyone across our state responsible and accountable in understanding that they have a commitment in finding innovative ways to ensure that English language learners are provided the services that they need. We are part of our regulations mandate that they are offered bilingual programming when available, or English as a second language or new language support. We have a blueprint for English language learner, multilingual learner success, and we honor native languages by awarding the seal of biliteracies. Our districts throughout the state have the responsibilities to ensure that the bilingual education programs are available to the students the minute that they are identified as needing support as an English language learner and with the parent consent. And we see a different level of urgency regarding the development of the program throughout the state of New York. Here's a little bit more information on our Commissioner's Regulation Part 154. There are specific components that are here. We have an L identification process. There is an identification and an exit requirement as held by federal laws. We provide guidance in terms of programming. What would a bilingual education program look like? Or what does an English as a new language program services look like? We are strong and steadfast in commitment of teacher and leader development. That makes a huge difference, and I'll say that again, teacher and leader development. Not every single administrative leader has a clear understanding of the needs of English language learners. So it's our office's commitment to ensure that our leaders, principals, assistant principals, deputy superintendents, and superintendents alike understand the responsibilities that they too hold for our students. We have information and guidance that support our parents and their rights, as well as additional supports that are strategically placed throughout our state. Next slide. And here's a little bit of information from the blueprint for English language learner and multilingual learner success. We have 8 concepts, and they are that first and foremost, every teacher is a teacher of an English language learner. Our school boards, and this one I want to stress as well, it speaks to the commitment that we have for leadership development. Our blueprint states that school boards and district leaders are responsible and accountable to ensure that our English language learners receive the supports that they're entitled to. That also means financial allocations. So as they plan their year for the district and their community, English language learners and their needs are to be part of the conversation. The next is most important is ensuring that our students have access to equitable, rigorous, grade-appropriate instruction. Our English language learners are part of the general education population, and therefore they have a right to receive grade-level appropriate curriculum. But most importantly, it needs to be thought-provoking and challenging, like for every other child. Bilingualism, biliteracy, we say that are assets, as all of you agree. And I invite you that even after this presentation, please to go on to our websites that we provided at the end, and you will see so much more information that goes into detail for each and every one of them. I will also would like to stress that we maintain assessments throughout the state to ensure that our children are progressing and achieving gains. We have benchmarks and annual yearly progress measures so that we can use them to inform the level of English language proficiency, as well as proficiency in terms of dual languages that would award them the seal of biliteracy. In terms of speaking now, I would love to speak to you about the seal of biliteracy. Thank you, Nick. So we know that bilingual students who have a higher level of proficiency in their first language are able to draw on that linguistic foundation during the acquisition of a new language. We know how important the home language is. We must reinforce it and teach literacy in English and in their home language. Honoring the home language is essential, and the SEAL does that for us. The Seal of Biliteracy is an award given by a school district, or county office of education that formally recognizes students who have attained a high level of proficiency in 2 or more world languages, one of which must be English, by high school graduation, excuse me. The New York State Seal of Biliteracy acknowledges, we can go back to the previous slide. Sorry, Nick. Thank you. The New York State Seal of Biliteracy acknowledges the importance of being bilingual in today's global society. It highlights the hard work and achievements of our students, encourages them to pursue language study while in school, hopefully at the university level as well. The recognition of attaining biliteracy becomes part of the high school transcript and diploma as a statement of accomplishment for future employers and for college admissions. So a little bit on the timeline and the origins of the Seal of Biliteracy, followed by New York State, when the Seal of Biliteracy was passed by the legislature and signed into law by Governor Cuomo in 2012. By 2014, the New York State Board of Regents approved the implementation of the Seal of Biliteracy pilot program in a limited number of districts to inform the final set of criteria that would be established for all schools. The criteria for students to earn the Seal of Biliteracy was formally approved by the Board of Regents in 2016. The first year of full statewide implementation of the seal was in 2016-2017. More information on the Seal of Biliteracy programs in other states can be found on the website sealofbiliteracy.org. A little bit more of the Seal of Biliteracy subgroups in our current state. One of the first tasks of the Seal of Biliteracy Committee is to identify the cohorts of eligible SEAL candidates from the graduating senior class. And these are they current Ls, those who currently are in an ENL program, who speak, understand, read, and write a language other than English? Are they former or ever Ls, those who have successfully exited an ENL program, who speak, understand, read, and write a language other than English? A heritage language speaker. These are students that have never been identified as an English language learner, but have knowledge of 2 or more languages, whether through their heritage or experience abroad. Also, students pursuing a course sequence in world languages, culminating in Checkpoint C. We have several checkpoints for our students to be able to be awarded and recognized as mastering a language other than English. This information can be gathered through the school's student management system. Many of our districts hold a student management reporting system, and in consultation with world languages and English as a new language teachers. In terms of a little bit of the statistics here in New York State, in 2019 to 2020, students in our very first candidate, one of our very first candidates, was awarded the Seal of Proficiency in English and an indigenous language, Tuscarora. This represents also an increase, if you see these numbers here, of 12 additional languages from the previous year. During the 2021 and 2022 academic school year, 370 schools participated in awarding the Seal of Biliteracy. They represented, it was about one region, one school district was represented throughout the state of New York. We had a total of 7,000 students earn the Seal of Biliteracy. 69% of them were females and 31% of them were males. During the 2021-2022 academic school year, 178 students earned the seal in 3 languages, including English, and 11 earned the Seal of Biliteracy in 4 languages, including English. Some of the statistics that will speak to the languages, the next slide, Nick, please. Some of the top languages that we have identified that where the seal of biliteracy was awarded was first and foremost Spanish, French, Italian, and Chinese. Next slide. In the past, I do have to celebrate that although we were all struggling as a nation with the pandemic, if you notice these dates, it's demonstrated that still the seal of biliteracy continued to be promoted amongst our students. And although we were in a hardship situation with either remote or virtual hybrid instruction, our teachers continued to make sure that they allowed the students to be exposed to and earn the seal of biliteracy. The data and the information that you see here, we can go back to the previous slide, Nick. Thank you. In the past, current ELs made up less than all of the seal earners. We realized that there was a clear disparity. The seal of biliteracy had been also identified and created to provide our students with an opportunity to demonstrate proficiency in their native language as well. But for some reason, our English language learners were not being exposed to and not earning the seal of biliteracy. We made sure we began to change that and began a commitment to ensure that our teachers understood and had the proper tools to engage our students to earn this recognition. The number of current ELs who earned the seal in 2020 and 2021 doubled from 181 students to 417 students, representing close to 8% of all seal recipients, 7.6 to be exact. To put this a little bit more in perspective, historically, ELs represented only 2% of the 12th grade cohort. Long Island has more than 50% of its public schools that offer the seal of biliteracy, demonstrating that they right now are ranking top in the state. For more information on the seal of biliteracy, you may absolutely visit our website and you can connect with our seal and the work that we have, but I will demonstrate to you a little further on some of the modules and the work that we use for our teachers. But I have to celebrate the work that our professor, Dr. Valdez, is doing in DR TSOL in this movement, because he's been able to use the PISA assessment in order to prepare the students for recognition. That alone is a definite bridge that will unite the work from Dominican Republic students and our students here in New York State. As you can imagine, we have a large number of students here that are from the Dominican Republic. So we look forward to enjoying the fruits of the labor of Dr. Valdez and Dominican Republic there. So the next slide will demonstrate how it is specifically that we're promoting the seal of biliteracy. You will see that we have one-pagers of reports that discuss and present what is the seal of biliteracy, how does it benefit our students, and Q&A sections that are tailored for folks to fall in love and understand and wrap their arms around this opportunity for our children. We realized that our goal was to share the information with the field at large so that we can ensure that our students and teachers alike were exposed to and made the transition and the work a lot easier for them. We also have created a handbook, a very extensive handbook that takes and guides our educators from the beginning to end. So in New York State, our superintendents and the school boards, we've created this specifically not only for the use of administrators and teachers, but we wanted to explain the benefits of this. So our handbook has been created to initiate from having conversations with parents, understanding the benefits of the seal of biliteracy attainment and achievement, as well as the celebration factor of it and the benefits that it opens up for our children to be able to attend universities of their choosing. We're also currently working with higher education organizations to recognize and take this a step further. How can the earning of the seal of biliteracy be recognized and support our young adults once they enter the university? The next slide, I want to take advantage and share with you some of the work and what it looks like when I was speaking about the guidance toolkit. So I shared with you, we had one pagers, we have a handbook, and then we have guidance toolkit. We love to try to make everything as easy and succinct as possible, even though it looks a little bit complicated. I assure you it's not. So Nick, if you wouldn't mind just opening up one of those modules. Thank you, Nick. So each of those, no, everything that I'm sharing with you has a price quote of free. Free information, free resources, free modules, free charts. All you have to do is print it out. I would suggest a color printer though. It looks better. Now in this module, this is the first module. And as you see, it will speak to the coordinators and the administrators of the building. What do you need to know before you get started? It speaks to you about what is the overall cost. It's not much. We also provide a funding source to support our districts in falling in love and implementing this for the first time. It's part of our commitment as an office to ensure the seal of biliteracy. It has videos that will walk the educator through the entire process, whether it's a video, a PowerPoint, a webinar that folks can see at their leisure. Can we go back and see another one of the modules, Nick? I think we have a little time to see. Thank you. This is module number 2. How do you plan for this, for the implementation of the seal of biliteracy? Again, if you notice, even for the modules with the slides, we provide the script so that any educator or any teacher, leader, or director can not only use the materials we provide, but also we provide the guidance and the conversation so that they don't have to create anything on their own. We want them to be able to go straight into the work. We also explain tremendously through other materials. As you can see on the bottom, it says supplementary materials. It speaks to how do you earn the seal of biliteracy. I see that it says the link says access denied. We will work on that. We will make sure when this presentation is offered, because as Rachel stated, we will share the presentations with you. We will make sure all is available, but it should be. Okay, thank you, Nick. We also have one other item that speaks to, again, and continues. We're very big on reporting. It's essential for our work. It helps us identify additional funding that we request. I am always requesting additional funding from our state and federal government to support our endeavors, especially the seal of biliteracy. So we have 3 annual reports as it stands, and it's captured years 2019, 2020, and 2021. I think they're pretty impressive because it shows the growth and the efforts to promote the seal of biliteracy within our state of New York, despite COVID. And we're extremely proud of that. The next items you'll see, we've done so much work in providing infographics. We've also highlighted, because our state of education department is governed by the Board of Regents, we have also created a seal of biliteracy that captures the work for each region. For example, the Capital Region, Long Island region, Hudson Valley region, New York City region. New York City region alone houses about 1 million of our students. We lost a little bit of enrollment there. Unfortunately, I cannot say that they're the top leaders in New York City to earn the seal of biliteracy. So we have a lot more work to do in New York City. But as I stated earlier in the presentation, Long Island region is leading the efforts in earning the seal of biliteracy. And we have a large percentage of English language learners in Long Island. Also, I'm sorry, if we can go back for a second. There's one for each infographic, it identifies so that our Board of Regent members are aware. We identify the number of students, we identify the number of English language learners, we identify the number of scholars in totality that have earned the seal, as well as English language learners and non-English language learners, so that they can keep a pulse and help us share out this information. So, thank you. If we can go back, well, we could go to that next slide, Nick, the last slide, thanks. I have included several of our links so that you can stay in direct communication with myself and the office. We've also provided a newsletter. Nick, if you would be able to open up the newsletter, the September OBEWL newsletter. One of the most important ways that we try to reach out to our folks is that we say it's about communication. You can go to September 2022. Thank you. So our information, whether it's research-based or anything that we're doing at the state level, you can also find it at our newsletters. It will speak to anything from what's happening new at the Board of Regents or at the State Education Department, as well as our world languages, the seal of biliteracy, and all of the programs and initiatives that we provide as a state endeavor. But I wanted to share something with you. So that's for your leisure that you can enjoy. Dr. Betty Rosa is our current Commissioner of Education. She is also the New York State President of the University of New York State. She was the former Chancellor of the State of New York as well. And she stated something that I wanted to share with you because I know I am amongst advocates of bilingual education, bilingualism, multilingualism in support of our children. She has challenged us to take a look within, to understand and define what it is that we truly stand for. And once we are clear and affirm our beliefs, that we must challenge others to look within themselves as well. If our goal is truly to promote a culture and a world where arms are opened and welcome diversity, provide equity, and become inclusive for our children so that they can have a better tomorrow, then we must understand also that language is the great equalizer. So I ask you, I thank you for being advocates. I thank you for looking within yourselves, but I ask you to respectfully challenge others to take a look within themselves. And they should question, is what they're promoting and what they're subscribing to in support of equality for all children. I thank you so much for the opportunity. I know we have a few additional moments for a question and answer sessions. And so I'll turn it over to Rachel.
Yeah, thank you both so much for those super encouraging presentations. Juan, it seems like in the DR, there's a lot of momentum right now. You've got the media, you've got folks in leadership, and a lot of promotion for English language learning for young learners, especially. It'll be cool to see how that teacher education program comes out. And Elisa, congratulations on the number of students awarded the Seal of Biliteracy. That's super inspiring. And it's just really cool to see multilingualism celebrated at the state level. And I can only imagine for the students and for the parents, just that source of pride that they must feel. So yeah, I invite attendees now to ask questions. If you can use the raise hand function on your reactions bar, or you can drop questions into the chat, and we've got about 13 or so minutes to chat. Okay, while everyone's thinking, I have a question. Juan, I'm just wondering, how did you get so much support to be able to offer the DR TSOL conference for free to all teachers?
Well, basically, we reached out to the local leadership. We talked to publishers, to the business sector, to the Ministry of Education, to the National Institute for Professional Development. They usually help us in sponsoring the event. Mm-hmm. The costs are mostly on hotel, mostly on transportation, on providing a meal for the convention. And all that we can get from the business sector around. I mean, it is an issue of social responsibility. Dominican Republic TSOL doesn't even charge a membership fee. Since its creation in 2014, membership in DR TSOL is free. Participating is free. Our society is very different. People don't believe in leadership very much in this country. Most leaders have disappointed them historically. So when we created the Dominican Republic TSOL, we made it a point to demonstrate teachers in society that it is possible to fight for a cause like that of education and ELT without any financial benefit, without trying to make profit, economically speaking. So it is one of our bylaws, in fact, not to charge any fee to members, because the goal is to bring people together for better education. In this case, for English language teaching and learning, it is cultural in this country. If you really want to succeed on a cause like improving education, you need to understand the local culture. And there's a lot of disappointment traditionally in this country from figures of authority. So we are only doing our best. Everybody is a volunteer here. Everything is done pro bono. And we have a lot of people around who are trying to make a better job. So we get a lot of support from all different sectors, and we reach out to them. Some of the funding is provided by some of our institutions, some of us. In my case, I have personally done most of the funding for most events, but whatever is left, we just get it from supporters all around the country.
Well, that's great. You have great involvement. I could see at the conference you had a huge attendance there, so that's wonderful. And it is an obstacle. A lot of teachers don't get involved in continuing professional development simply because they can't afford it or make it to where it's being offered. So there is a question from Diane Rodriguez in the chat who would like to get involved in the DR bilingualism effort. So I don't know if you want to say how she could be involved or drop some links into the chat for her.
Yeah, we have several offices nationwide, and there's a DR TSOL page. You can go to the DR TSOL page, and there's our contact, there's our membership tab. You just need to contact us and call us, and we'll be more than happy to welcome you. In fact, we would like to invite you all from TSOL International to come to the DR and join us in this effort. We need as much international help as possible. And this is basically a good cause. We're talking about providing poor public school students the opportunity to become bilingual in public school. So this is open to everybody. It is open to all professionals who would like to donate some of their time to come to the DR and join us and do teacher training, visit schools, do presentations, support us academically with your vision, with your knowledge, with your expertise. You are all welcome to the DR to come and join us and help us doing this.
That sounds like a great invitation, everyone.
It's hot and sunny here all year long. We have beautiful beaches all around to visit, and it's beautiful. This is La Isla Bonita, if you wish. So you're more than welcome to come and join us.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Rachel, if I may add, I wanted to stress the fact that the commitment, when you were speaking about and wondering about the funding in DR TSOL alone, funding has always been an issue, regardless of the location or the endeavor. Here in New York State, we've done our best. We still need more, but currently, teacher preparation being essential to ensure the success of our children, we have partnered with 16 specifically higher education institutions to ensure that we can subsidize and pick up the majority of the funding for our teachers of general education to receive the extension in bilingual education or certification as an ENL or ENL teacher. We've done that because, as everyone else knows, we have been struggling with teacher shortages, and predominantly whether it's a teacher of English as a second language or a teacher who we need are English language learners who have an IEP, who are disabled. They also need those services. So we have financial commitments and relationships with our higher institutions, so much so that COVID did teach us to create opportunities where there could be virtual engagement. So a few of our universities have created studies for certification purposes virtually. This way, taking into account the time and the needs of our teachers so that we can spread the ability throughout the state of New York.
That's
We're
wonderful.
lucky here to have, I'm sorry to interrupt. We're lucky here to have the National Teacher Training Institute. It's called INAFOCAM. This institute provides funding for professional development of teachers. The thing is that we need, as usual, to provide a reason, a rational, and a well-designed program. And we usually get support for that too locally. So that helps us as well.
Mhm. Yeah, partnerships are essential. And if you can partner with universities, especially because they may have more funding, they've got professors, they have students and grad students who want to do some work and have community engaged learning opportunities. So yeah, these partnerships are crucial.
Well, for us, the Ministry of Education, that National Teacher Training Institute is the main source of funding.
Mhm.
The fact remains trying to convince them that this is important, because usually in this country, the 3 R's have been the focus of professional development. English has always been a simulation in the domain of school curriculum. And it's the same thing, in my opinion, all over Latin America in public education.
Mhm.
Debunking that and making it possible, letting them know that this is something we can achieve may be the only challenge, because funding is always there. The
Mhm.
only thing is how to convince them to channel the funding in our direction for the cause of English language learning.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Does anyone else have a question or a comment? We're a small group. It's very comfortable. You can even turn on your cameras and say hi.
If you have any questions, then you can come here. I mean, come in general, I insist. If you come here, you would have a lot of questions. And once
I'm
again, I would like to
definitely,
confirm.
I'm definitely
Yes.
going to reach out to you and see about practicum abroad options for some of my students if you'll accept them into your classrooms.
We'd love that.
Well, I would say, Rachel, just seeing the names that are on the screen and having a little bit of an idea where they are, I just want to continue to celebrate the fact that they're spread throughout various parts of our world. And I know that these folks that are on the call will continue to touch not only our young adults, but empower their colleagues to do the same. So we are facing a few crisis moments, the teacher shortages, as I mentioned, and the fact that we also want to reinforce that our children need an opportunity to have access, and they have a right for that. Just having the regulatory language that we have helps us, but it's a tremendous feat. And so with partnerships, making sure that the districts are complying with our law is first and foremost also on our minds. Not only do we monitor, but we also support them, because we don't want the districts. And that was one of the reasons why I shared so many different documents, infographics, modules, because we wanted to explain exactly how to present something like the seal of biliteracy. Our hope is next time that we're able to be in your presence, that we have increased even more of our English language learners being able to achieve the seal. But not only that, this for me is a call out to all higher institutions to help me figure a way on how earning the seal of biliteracy can be awarded and recognized at the university. So albeit for our students to be able to have less credits that they would have to take at the university, or elevated, or that it would allow them to forfeit a class, anything that allows them to move quickly or on time through the college years is a benefit. So we haven't figured that out yet, and I am seeking partnerships to have that conversation.
Yeah, thank you for your call to
Thank you.
advocacy and action. It's so important. And yeah, being able to celebrate these students' heritage languages and home languages and help them, like you said, get through university quickly. So yeah, I think we have a very active and engaged group here, and I agree that the work will continue around the world. And that's just about the end of our time. So if there's anything else you would like to share before we wrap up.
Well, once again, I would like to invite you all to become part of this bilingual republic movement. You are all welcome. I would like to say hi to Efrain Soto, past president of Puerto Rico TSOL, whom I see there. I would like to thank Dr. Ayana Cooper, who was our closing plenary speaker for the DR-TSOL convention just 1 month ago for this opportunity. And once again, I would like to thank Dr. Ranisa Alvarez for being our support in the Department of Education in the state of New York, and to TSOL International, whom I've been a member of for over 25 years. And I love this to be the first opportunity we have to show the rest of the world what we are doing in the Dominican Republic. Thank you all very much for this great opportunity. And once again, you are all welcome to join our vote for a bilingual republic. Thank you.
Thank you both so much. And this recording will be shared on tsol.org and our YouTube channel next week, so you can share with anyone who wasn't able to make it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ray, for moderating. You were fantastic.
Oh, thanks, Ayana. Good to see you
All
here.
right. Take
And
good
for the
care.
invitation.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Juliet. So you'll,
Thanks. Yep. You did great. Thank you very much.
okay, bye.
Bye.